Hello and welcome to Hatha at Home. Today we're going to be learning about mind control. There's nothing very mystical about it. By understanding how the mind works, we can control it. This is very useful when you would like to have a different state of mind or when your mental processes are causing you distress. Just as a person with training can become aware of distress in their body and adjust their postures and their diet and physical functioning to alleviate that distress, someone who's aware of how their mind works can also alleviate their mental distress. The way that we alleviate physical distress is through learning various postures and methods of body control. Mind control is no different. There are many techniques, and just as there are many postures a person can take and many foods that a person can eat, there are many ways that a person can control their mind. One way that we look at mind control is in terms of short-term and long-term. It's possible to cultivate good habits of mind and over a long time generally reduce the amount of distress that we have mentally. Just as planting a seed will eventually eliminate hunger and other distress of the body, these good habits do eventually ripen and can be harvested and enjoyed. In the meantime, though, the farmer who is planted the seed is still going to need to eat, and until those good habits of mind have been firmly established, they're still going to experience considerable distress. One common form of distress is through exaggerated emotion. When you have too much emotion, that in of itself could be distressing. Some emotions are painful or can cause physical pain. Maybe their heart feels broken, or they get so happy they pass out. But emotions also can cause other distress when a person acts on them. And the more emotional that you get, the more likely you are to act illogically and act based on emotion. Emotion colors perceptions and also affects the way that we interact with the world. So learning how to moderate our emotions is important, especially in the short term while we develop good habits of mind. When we look at the mind, we do look at it in the same way as the body. If you spend all night cranking your neck, you're going to have a sore neck. Now, how would you adjust your neck so it's less sore? You would slowly stretch it. It would hurt. Slowly stretch it. You just slowly moving. And eventually, your neck loosens up and the pain goes away. Anytime you overexert yourself, you're going to develop a temporary habit. Mental processes are similar. When you start feeling one emotion, you tend to want to keep feeling emotion. However, emotions need to keep moving, just like the body. It's very important to remember that emotions are cyclical and illogical. They function biologically to keep the mind in proper order, to help with memory, to help with bodily functions, and they may not actually be resulting from what is going on in your world. They may just simply be functioning based upon what's going on inside your mind if you're remembering something, or if you are trying to hold in your bladder. If you're hungry, various emotions can arise. So there's that inflexibility, and sometimes too there's strain. When we get into a habit of feeling depressed or feeling anxious, it wears on us, and it becomes distressing in of itself. So there's two techniques we will explore. One is a transition to another emotion, and another is increasing that flexibility and reducing the strain. Sometimes we have very distressing lives. There's good reason to be depressed, and you're going to keep feeling depressed, or there's good reason to be afraid, and you're going to keep feeling afraid, or you're always going to be happy. But this can be wearing and distressing, and so what we need to do sometimes is to experience other emotions. There's numerous crutches you probably are aware of. You can expose yourself to your music or various theater performances on television, or there's various arts that can induce emotion. However, we can also, by force of mind, experience these things, not only by context, remembering something that made us feel a particular way, but also by concentration and intent. What we're going to do is we're going to understand that there is a cycle, and what we're going to do is move one emotion to another. At home, you're probably not feeling much of anything at this point, but we're going to concentrate on something which made you angry, or that was very upsetting to you, and perhaps remember it in vivid detail in your mind. When you have it in your mind, remember every detail of that moment. Now you feel very calm. In fact, remembering it tends to calm you. Anytime actually experience it, clench up and feel afraid until it wears out. Just as when you would clench your hands, eventually you run out of strength and you have to flex them again. It's a way of forcing your mind to release and move forward into another emotion, or at least to tire and grow motionless. Sometimes we have more cognitive distress. It's not really emotional, however, it could be characterized as thought emotion, where we feel with our thoughts that something's not quite right. Or we blind ourselves into thinking everything's just fine. When we concentrate on those thoughts, we notice that it in fact is a type of emotion. Hold the thought in your mind and imagine the world as you think it is. And at the same time, try to perceive the world intently. Concentrate on the floor, on the walls. Notice the textures, the temperature. Notice subtle details which you typically ignore. And at the same time, compare it to the way that you think things are or should be. You'll notice there's a difference. In noticing the difference, in paying attention to detail, you can bring yourself back to attention and reduce that distress of not being quite aware of how things are, of coloring, without profound emotion, with thought emotion. Thank you for coming to Loka Hatha Yoga at home. We'll see you next time.